Hey guys, Life-2004 back with this week's episode of Film for Every Year of My Life 2004. Now this year's been, 2004 was kind of a no-brainer of what I'd had for number one because it's my favourite film of all time. But first we'll get to honourable mentions. Not too many for this year, but a few anyway. Sideways, which is personally one of my favourite films, but obviously with number one being my favourite film of all time, I'm obviously going to pick that. Really good Alexander Payne directed film starring Paul Giamatti, one of my favourite actors, and Thomas Hayden Church. Hellboy, the Guillermo del Toro film based on the graphic novel of the same name. Shaun of the Dead, really, I think this was one of the films that kind of really put British films on the map in different countries, especially America. Americans really like this film, which kind of surprised me quite a bit. Kill Bill Volume 2, the second volume of the Kill Bill films. Dodgeball, one of my favourite comedies, starring Vince Vaughn and Ben Stiller. It's just a really I'm not the biggest fan of Vince Vaughn or Ben Stiller, to be honest, but the story elevates it beyond them two. Anyway, I, Robot, starring Will Smith. The first, again, it's kind of nostalgic for me because I remember I saw this in London in a really big screen, and it was just a really good movie experience. Bourne Supremacy, the sequel to The Bourne Identity. Again, would have been quite high in the list, but obviously with number one, like I said before. Garden State, the film directed by Zach Braff and starring Zach Braff as well as Natalie Portman and Peter Sarsgaard. Really good indie comedy drama, really good. Harold and Kumar, well, over here it's called Harold and Kumar Get the Munchies, but in the US it's called Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. I'm guessing they changed the title because nobody in the UK knows what White Castle is. But one of my favourite comedy films ever. It's just really funny, really good stories, really good characters, really good film overall. The Village, the M. Night Shyamalan film. Now a lot of people, well not a lot of people, but a few people don't like this film, but it's probably his M. Night Shyamalan's last good film. Saw, the first film in the officially the most successful horror franchise of all time. The original and I don't know if it's quite the best one, but in many people's eyes it is the best one. I think that they just tossed off sequel after sequel just to get more money. And last honourable mention goes to Meet the Fockers, the sequel to Meet the Parents, starring Ben Stiller and Robert De Niro. Really good comedy film, just not as good as the first one in my opinion, but still really good. A really good film. Now that's been all my honourable mentions for 2004. So like I said at the beginning, the film I've gone for Film of the Year of 2004 is my favourite film of all time. It is directed by Shane Meadows and stars my favourite actor, Paddy Considine. It is obviously a British film. I don't know if not a lot of people outside the UK know what this film is like, but really, well, I'll get into it anyway. It is Dead Man's Shoes. Now this is basically a revenge thriller set in the East Midlands, and the basic story is Richard, who played by Paddy Considine, has just come out of the army, and he goes back. So I close that, and he goes back to the town he grew up in, and through flashbacks you find out that the a local gang used to mentally abuse his mentally handicapped little brother, played by Toby Kebbell. You might know from, I think it was in Clash of the Titans, there's been a few American films as well. And basically comes back to his town and basically takes revenge on the gang that terrorised his brother. And it really simple plot to follow. But it's just, the thing elevates this film for me is Paddy Considine's performance is his best performance to date, in my opinion. It's going to take a lot to better that. But it's just one of those actors that, for me, he's just consistently brilliant in any film he's in. I mean, if you pick the worst director you could ever find, if he was going to be in a film, he'd elevate it to a film that that was like really good. Like a lot of people in kind of his other films, like kind of reviews have said that he's the best thing in it, which is, I believe them basically, because he's just an amazing actor. There's quite a lot of kind of shocking violence in this, which I find just really kind of, it's just really good violence. I mean, it's not kind of violent for violence sake, there's kind of a reason behind it, but it is quite violent, so if you kind of a nervous disposition you might not like it. It's distinctly British, as like I say, set in the East Midlands, which is kind of again, I'm not very good at geography, but kind of like the moors, I guess. It's kind of sparsely populated. It's kind of a drug fueled kind of town. There's a lot of kind of drug dealing going about, which is basically what the gang do. They're drug dealers, and it's just really kind of unpredictable. Like the head of the gang, you'd think that there'd be kind of some kind of showdown between him and Richard, but there isn't. There's like this really amazing kind of acid trip sequence where he basically kind of laces their teapot with drugs, and it's kind of like acid and LSD and stuff. It's like a really well shot kind of acid trip sequence, which kind of devolves into this absolute massacre. And basically, you'd think that there'd be kind of some kind of showdown between the head of the gang and Richard, but there isn't. He kind of kills him. He's the first guy he kills off, which I thought was kind of really. The first time I watched it, I did not see that coming at all, and it's just really well directed as well by Shane Meadows. He's just one of my favourite. He's in my top 5 favourite film directors. He just has this. Like, he can kind of bring out the kind of, I guess, the violence in kind of different situations. I don't know what the word is. It's something beginning with V anyway. Fuck it. Just really well shot, really well directed. He's one of those directors that like knows exactly what he wants and knows exactly how to get it. He's just really an amazing director. The acting is very good, very good. A lot of the people if you're in Britain, you might have seen kind of in TV shows and stuff. But really good performances. So all in all, just a really amazing film. Great performances. Paddy Considine just absolutely knocks it out of the park in every scene he's in, which is most of them. And it's just greatly directed, like I say, acted, greatly shot. Great music as well. Oh God, the music is amazing in this. Kind of a lot of the music, has the feeling that it's scored, but it's not. It's all kind of music from different bands from. Basically, the film was kind of part financed by Warp Records is a kind of record company with kind of bands like Aphex Twin, Square Pusher, Balls of Canada and stuff, and this was the first film that was a subsidy of Warp Records, was Warp Films, and this was the first film they financed, and it kind of basically kind of say like the best British films in the past like 10 years. Most of them would be Warp Films. Just great films. This was kind of like the stepping stone. So basically, without this film, kind of a lot of the best British films, like I say, the past 10 years wouldn't have happened. So kind of a trailblazer really in the British film industry. And so yeah, that has been my film. The film for every year of my life, 2004, which has been Dead Man's Shoes, and like I mentioned from like the past three times in this video, it's my favourite film of all time, and it's not a lot of films are going to surpass this, I don't think. So that's number 1 film of 2004 and of all time. So yeah, that has been Film for Every Year of My Life 2004. As always, one next Monday. So until then, please rate, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.